Canelo was fighting William Scull in a few weeks for the undisputed super middleweight titles, and honestly, he might be in trouble. You probably never even heard of Scull before this fight announcement, and I don't blame you. He's a Cuban fighting out of Germany. All but his last 2 fights were fought in either Germany or Argentina. He won the vacant IBF title back in October against a Russian named Vladimir Shishkin. I think Shishkin was actually robbed, as did many others. Canelo was really just fighting Scull because he wants to become undisputed again, number 1. And number 2 would be just an even bigger reason to sell this potential fight with Crawford in September. He is 32 years old and 5'11", so he's younger and bigger than Canelo. Watching him train and move, he does look athletic, and that is why he might be a problem for Canelo more than we originally thought. Now, of course, there's more to winning than just physical attributes, but let's take a look at Canelo's career recently. I feel like as the years go by, he loses even more power. It all started with his fight with John Ryder. Even though he knocked him down, he could not stop him, which he should have, especially since Jaime Munguia stopped Ryder with no problem. Canelo would then knock down, but not stop, Charlo, Munguia, and Berlanga. So he still possesses the power to stun guys and make them respect him, but I just don't think he has the power to really stop guys anymore. That's okay, but it's important for him to make up for that with his boxing skills and speed, which has also kind of decreased. Now, a slowed and weakened Canelo is still one of the best fighters on the planet, but it is just something to note as we go throughout his next couple of fights. So, why do I think Canelo might be in trouble? Well, he's getting slower, he's getting weaker, while Scull, an athletic, big, physical guy, is looking dangerous. Do I think Canelo's going to lose? Nope. But like I said, he might be in trouble. I wasn't saying all this when he fought Ryder, Munguia, Charlo, Berlanga, but I am saying this now. It's also important to note that Canelo really isn't a natural 168 pounder. He's a small guy for the weight division, but he always packed a big punch like a tank. He really defeated the odds when he bumped up to 175 and defeated guys like Sergey Kovalev, and of course went all 12 rounds in a competitive fight with Dmitry Bivol. So it's obviously not that surprising that, him pushing his mid-30s now, fighting at a weight division that he's a little too small for, and he's losing his power. It's not that big of a deal. But the opponents he's going to be facing are only getting younger. They're only getting hungrier because, while Canelo has 3 of the 4 belts, probably going to get this 4th belt, in a couple of weeks. But the fact that he's able to stay with so many titles in this division for so long is just so impressive. But like I said, these guys who are winning these titles are only getting younger. 154-pound division is very stacked. They'll be moving up quick to 168. The 160-pound division is okay, but you have Janibek, who could be really dangerous for Canelo in a year or 2. Let's see what happens. I think Canelo picks up another unanimous decision victory. And we roll into September for the Crawford fight, which I think Canelo might actually get a stoppage against the tiny 154-pounder. Either way, it's always a good time when Canelo fights. I'm still very excited for it. Before we continue, I'm going to mention my sponsor, that's Hayabusa, some of the best boxing gloves out there right now. Go to Hayabusa, link is in the description. Use the code ALEXD, ALEXD, all caps, get 10% off your order. But, I'm really excited for this fight. Really wishing it wasn't in Saudi Arabia. Wishing it was still Las Vegas or North America, where this is actually the first time, despite how big and famous Canelo is, first time fighting outside of North America, right? He's usually either fighting in America or Mexico. Okay, now he's fighting in Saudi Arabia, different time zones, different everything. Okay, but the time for us watching here in America is going to be similar to what we see if Canelo was fighting in America. So we'll see from that. Really wish it wasn't happening in Saudi Arabia, but of course Turkey's paying him like $500 million, I believe, dollars for a couple of fights. Not for one fight, but for a couple of fights. I think it's like a 4-fight contract. I mean, good for Canelo. I don't think he really needed that money, but $500 million, I mean, it's hard to say no compared to what others were offering. I'm sure it can't be that big of a difference, but he pulled on it pretty quick. We went from Canelo saying that he doesn't need a guy like Turkey to bend in the knee pretty fast. It is what it is, though. Still going to watch that fight in September. Still going to watch that as well. I'm curious how that's going to go out, but I think Canelo's going to squish Crawford. But for this fight, William Scull, I'm just saying, it's going to be a bit tougher than I think we're used to. I'm curious how long now can Canelo go without, getting stunned, because his power is not there. His chin was always good, one of the best chins in boxing, but his power's not really there, and his style was just walking guys down. If he can't walk guys down and just rely on his skill and boxing skill, which has been decreasing as well with his speed, we might see eventually Canelo start to struggle with fights that we're used to. Okay, we're kind of seeing a little bit of that of his past couple of fights. We might see this with Scull, a very good athletic fighter, but we'll see what happens. I think still Canelo gets it done, but it's not going to be as pretty as we saw Canelo a few years ago. Father time happens, but it's weird because Canelo's still a very top fighter, still a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter, top 5 pound-for-pound fighter. We'll see what happens. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this fight. I think Canelo's going to win, so I'm not going to ask you who do you think is going to win. I'm sure you all agree Canelo's going to win. I think Canelo will win, but it might be a very, very hard fight than we used to. Let me know down in the comments. Make sure to subscribe. Best boxing content on YouTube. I'm out, guys. Peace.